Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today I just wanted to show you a little bit of the root development on Kentucky 31 Fescue and why it is such a beast for holding up animals in wet, puggy conditions. These plants, I actually pulled them. I just wanted to show you, these are young plants. These are just, well, they're right at a year old. And they were pulled. I wouldn't have got them pulled as clean as I did, except for they're out here. This is my rock pad that I made. It's a turnaround area. It's up by the gas tanks, and makes it nice for customers to come in when they get bale and rollers. We can turn people around. We can load them here, and just made a really nice rock pad. This does have geotextile underneath it, so it's about 100 by 40, something like that wide. Anyway, I came up here and I found a plant like this. There's one right there. And I just take and pull the rocks back. I mean, it's a beast. That's not a very old plant there. He's probably less than a year old. But now I'm gonna see, watch this, see if I can pull it with one hand and still video. Pulled it too fast, so he'll be back. You got to kind of pull on him real slow. I actually broke the bottom of his roots off, but that plant that came from one seed, and it's probably, I would say, judging by that top growth, it's probably 3 or 4 months old. You know, it's just doesn't have much age on it at all. But I'll show you a close-up of the ones I pulled and why I'm excited about having fescue in my pastures when it's wet. I tell you, it's like a rug or a mat under there. That's one plant. I mean, look at that. You talk about some roots. This one's kind of a wide little guy here. Look at that. I mean, when a cow steps on that in a rainstorm, it's kind of like having a foundation underneath them. And if you have orchard grass, which I don't have, none of that is brave enough to come up in this rock. Oh, and I didn't say that. You know, that darn plant came up in solid rock. And there's no soil under this rock. It's got to get through the geotextile. So fescue's a beast. Once it gets started, and this is, look at that one. Well, that's a beaut. I mean, can you imagine? Look at that. Think of the carbohydrates and the energy that was stored in that root system. I'm actually going to replant these out of my pasture. As soon as this is done, I'm going to go out there and just stick them on the ground. I wanted to show you, this is wild mustard. See, it's got a longer taproot on it. This is a little baby fescue. He's probably a month old. He's already got a pretty good root system. But yeah, we just grazed this. We brought, let's see, the cow herd left here over 30 days ago, and then the bulls came in, and this is our lane. Well, you saw the video where I walked the bulls in, but we grazed that paddock over there, and that was grazed about 2.5 weeks ago. I mean, look at it. Tell me the spring flush isn't on top of us. That orchard grass is, actually, there it is. There's the boot. Right there, see it? The seed head is just starting to come out of there. That's called the boot stage. That's when you need to be grazing it. So we've got about 370 animals coming here next Saturday, Sunday after the grazing school. We got it timed where we didn't have to have a cattle drive during the grazing school, which is kind of good. It's a busy time, and we don't need to be preoccupied with another activity on the farm. But that's where the cattle, when we make our drive, I think we're up to 70 calves now. We'll probably have 80 maybe more than that by the time the drive happens. And I've got a good crew of young men, or I wouldn't tackle it. It's gonna be like herding cats. Those little guys, the ones you gotta watch are the ones that are newborn up to, let's say, 5 days old. Once they get over 5 days old, you don't have much trouble with them. They're stout, they can keep up, they don't have any trouble making a cattle drive. This is the paddock they're gonna be coming on to. And so we've still got 10 days on this paddock before we hit it. And you can see it's getting awful close. See that? There's one plant there, it still has a square end on it. But they're going back to tips really quick. And that I just showed you there, that could have been caused by frost. Because last week we hit 27 degrees out here. Oh boy, those cows, they're gonna be in heaven on this. So we skipped this paddock with the bulls and just shot them all the way through this farm. And now we're bringing them back. We're bringing in a last set of bulls today to be semen. We do a semen check, a trick test, and also a Yoni's. And people say, well, what is Yoni's? Why do you check for that? Well, it's something you ought to do if you're in the seed stock business. A lot of people don't. But a Yoni's is actually a chronic wasting disease. And I mean, once they get it, if they've got it, you can detect it just with a test, and you just don't want to sell somebody anything that would possibly have something like that. So it's just it's a peace of mind. It's a peace of mind deal. Okay. So I'm going to be bringing in 10 more today. We brought in, what was it, 18 the other day. We've still got a bunch of young ones. As they get older, we'll be bringing them in too. I think there's 70. We're up to 75 head of bulls, I believe, when we get the last set in there. So I got a couple producers that are using my bulls, and we got them some pretty good bulls now, and man, they're raising some really nice bull calves. And so we like trying to help those folks market those animals. You know, there is a good market for grass genetics, and it just takes time to get the right kind of animals. And Blaze down there, our dog, has saw me up here, and she's barking at me. What are you doing? Here she comes. She's a pretty dog. See, that dog's doing what she's designed, what she's bred to do. That's exactly what she's doing. She doesn't know who I am. There's Kangle, he's coming up the driveway. We have the best alarm system in the world. You will not sneak in on our driveway. And there's Smokey, and then the Venus. So we got 4 dogs that's gonna be circling you. And the only one you gotta watch about is Kangle. He's got the stiff tail, and he's never offered to bite anybody, but he sure makes you think he will. Which isn't a bad thing in today's society. If you got strangers, you don't know who's out there. You got a dog that sounds like you might take your head off. You might stay in your car until we come out. You know, it's not a bad thing. But look at the clover out here. It's just a beautiful sward. I mean, we got about probably 40% clover in with the grass. In some areas, it's going to be like right here. Of course, that's pure clover. Well, I shouldn't say pure. There's some grasses in there, but I would say that's up there around 85, 90%. Then right next to it, we've got the fescue and the orchard grass, and there's actually some bluegrass coming in. Hey, Smoke. You always like getting in the video, don't you? You're a good-looking pup. Yeah. I think Jan's been brushing you. Nope. I know you don't have anything on you because we just treated you. But you got an itch. Hey, Blaze. How you doing? She's a pretty dog. And Venus, yes, you're the oldest, so we'll call you the monarch. That little dog's amazing. She can get her, she backs Smokey down around the food bowl. It's unbelievable. Smokey outweighs her by probably 6 times, but it doesn't matter. That's a pretty dog. That's the dog that we rescued. She wouldn't move with the herd or the flock, and so we just made a pet out of her. Named her Blaze, and Jan's really got her tamed down. Just a beautiful dog. But so we'll bring the cattle in here. We're gonna make 2 paddocks out of this. We'll split it down the middle, down to that hydrant. And there's the new pond down there. I don't have my skirt on that yet, the rock skirt, so we're not gonna be getting water from that pond until I get that skirt in. But once it gets dry, we'll get Johnny in here, and we're gonna get a rock skirt. And I think I am gonna take your all's advice. Somebody said, you know, why don't you put it in that spillway? I'm gonna try it, because that does have the least amount of slope going into the pond. And if it's rock, and see, we put 12 ton of 6-inch and then 12 ton of 2-inch in there, it's not gonna wash out. And those cattle have a good firm step to get out into that pond and drink. You know, I say out in it, they're gonna be standing on the rock. Most they'll be able to get out in is probably a foot. So, and they're only gonna be on it, you know, for 1 day. So it's not like they're gonna be on it all summer. But yeah, this is gonna be beautiful, but this is all got, just think about what I was holding up a while ago, folks. Every one of these plants has that kind of root mass on it. Every one of them. And when it rains, and you don't have elephants that weigh thousands, you know, 1,500 pounds, keep your cow size between that 900 and 1,000, max maybe 1,200. I kind of like them more around the 1,000. This was grazed when it was wet, and I'm walking around out here, I don't feel any pugging. It's because they don't pug. But somebody, well, I was getting some bulls tested the other day, and the guy said they brought a bull in to get semen checked, and he was so big they couldn't get him in the head catch. So they put him in an alley and ran a board behind him and in front and did this, and that's the only way they could test him. And they said you had to look up. You had to look up to see the top of his head and his back. Well, heck, that's 7-8 frame bull. I mean, why in the world would you want an animal that huge for? I mean, you just got to feed it a lot of grain to keep it alive in the wintertime. Not gonna make any money. I guess you got bragging rights, so you got the biggest bull in the county. But, you know, that doesn't pay the bills. Paying the bills is making a living out here on this green grass that grows from solar energy and sunlight. And some mineral and some water, that's it. That's where it's at. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. I can't wait to get the cows over here on some of this Kentucky 31, orchard grass, bluegrass, clover. It's just a menagerie of everything in here, so they're gonna be happy cows. Folks, hit that subscribe button on the way out, and if you haven't signed up, hit that button on our website if you want to be notified when our new book comes out. It should be here within the next 2 weeks. So you sign up on that, you'll get an email letting you know when it's in, and maybe you'll get a chance to get that. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Everyone have a great day, and stay safe out there.